This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore.
There are a lot of congressmen and women that I respect. Some, rank a little higher than others. But on the top of the heap, or near the top of the heap, certainly is a gentleman named Jamie Raskin. Congressman from the local area here in Washington, D.C. He's a Maryland congressman, a constitutional law professor and expert in the law. And he was interviewed yesterday. He's on the select committee investigating the events of January 6th and the insurrection, the deadly attempted overthrow of the United States government by way of overturning a free and fair and settled election. And we are, through some books that have been written and some journalism and some indictments and information that has been made public, we know the depths of the conspiracy. We know just how organized it was. And a lot of those details, if I'm right, if my guess is correct, will be revealed during the prime time hearing on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern on your local, well, not on Fox News, but on your local cable news show. MSNBC, CNN, I'm sure they'll cover it bell to bell, and you should watch. But Jamie Raskin sat down with Leanna Caldwell from the Washington Post. Forgive her mic, by the way. You'd think a multi-billion-dollar operation like the Washington Post would be able to afford some recording equipment and a mic that works. That is not the case, however. Anyway, she asked a couple of questions. It was a half-hour interview. I've pulled out roughly 4 minutes, 2 minutes and 2 minutes, maybe, give or take 15 seconds or so. And in the first clip here I'm going to play for you is Jamie Raskin, who, by the way, is not only smart, he is a very sober, clear-headed individual who isn't prone to hyperbole. He's not a bomb thrower on the left. He's not a guy who's trying to get his moment by saying something incendiary in a committee hearing. He is clear-eyed about these matters. And in this first clip, he's going to answer the question about what is to be expected on these days. And then the following clip, he gets into the prospect of a legal criminal conspiracy, that this just wasn't some spontaneous protest that happened. There was a concerted effort to do what they did because they had a plan. And thankfully, that plan fell through. Here's the first clip talking about the overview of what to expect in these hearings.
So, Congressman, as I just mentioned, this week is the first hearing of a series of hearings that the January 6th Select Committee is holding. Just big picture, what can we expect on Thursday during prime time at 8 o'clock?
Well, I think you will see a comprehensive introduction and overview of the findings that will be laid out over the course of the month of June. And we're going to tell the story of a conspiracy to overturn the 2020 presidential election and block the transfer of power. So this is an extraordinary and unprecedented event in our history. I mean, you really have to go back to the Civil War to understand anything like it. But of course, the Confederates never denied that Abraham Lincoln had actually won the election. They just wanted to secede from the Union. But here we had an effort to lie about who won the election, and then a concerted multi-step effort to overturn the result of the election. And all of it was backed up by a violent assault on the U.S. Capitol, which drove the House and the Senate members out of our respective chambers and shut down the counting of electoral college votes for the first time in American history for several hours.
To me, the fact that he's not, that there aren't these salacious, you need to watch because of this and this and this, they're not selling it, really leads me to believe that there are going to be some bombshells revealed. It is better, certainly, to undersell the proceedings than to oversell and then leave people disappointed. That's, I guess, from an entertainment standpoint. I don't think that's what he traffics in. That's not what his objective is here in this interview. But the second clip is really the one that I want to talk about because of all the knowledge that, first of all, he demurred on several questions. He refused to answer and said, look, you're going to have to watch the committee. I'm not going to get, he didn't say this particular phrase, but he's not going to get out ahead of his skis. Again, sober, judicious, dispassionate about these matters. Here's a clip where he talks about the very likely criminal conspiracy surrounding the events that took place during the deadly insurrection last January, or the January before. Watch this.
You use that word conspiracy. Your colleague, Representative Liz Cheney, she used that over the weekend in a separate interview. So did a federal judge, David Carter. He said that it was more likely than not that Donald Trump was part of a conspiracy to overturn the elections. So is that what the hearing is going to lay out? Is that what the committee has found?
Yes, the committee has found evidence of concerted planning and premeditated activity. The idea that all of this was just a rowdy demonstration that spontaneously got a little bit out of control is absurd. You don't almost knock over the U.S. government by accident. So we're going to lay out all of the evidence we have found. House Resolution 503 charges us with defining what happened on January 6th, explaining the causes of what happened, and then ultimately laying out recommendations that would allow us to fortify ourselves against coups and insurrections moving forward.
Those two quotes are tremendously important. Yes, the committee has found evidence of concerted planning and premeditated activity. And that the idea that all of this was just a rowdy demonstration that spontaneously got a little bit out of control is absurd. You don't almost knock over the United States government by accident. You don't just show up and then, oh, wow, it was an effective coup. And we're learning that's not the case. We're learning of the plot for the fake state electors, which is going to be the next video that I do today, followed by Enrique Tarrio's indictment for seditious conspiracy, or other words, attempting to overthrow the United States government. And those all play together. This conspiracy to reinstall Donald Trump as president of the United States, in spite of the fact that he lost by 7 million plus votes, there is a straight line between the fake elector plot, keeping them secret, to January 6th, to Enrique Tarrio. Because had they succeeded, their claim was that the only day that the election can be certified is on January 6th. If you miss that day, all of them go back to the state legislatures, and then they believe the state legislatures would appoint the fake slate of electors. And that is exactly what Enrique Tarrio and Stuart Rhodes of the Oath Keepers are being accused by the government of. A grand jury has been impaneled, and indeed indictments have been issued. And those are the next two. Those are the next two stories that I'm doing in conjunction. All of this is breaking today. And this January 6th Select Committee is going to get into this. And there's going to be some bombshells, if I'm correct, things that we have not learned before. That will be, listen, the radicals on the right aren't going to be swayed by any evidence whatsoever. But there is still some percentage of Republican who still consider themselves Republican, who still consider themselves party loyalists, whose loyalty to the party will, in some measure, evaporate. This is a war of attrition of ideas in some respect. That it's not going to happen all at once. But if we can get a little evidence to them, little by little by little, eventually their support for the Republican Party and its agenda of chaos will erode. And it is through that erosion that we will win our country back. Very rarely is there a eureka moment where lightning strikes and a light shines down from the heavens. Things are accomplished little by little by little by little. And we shouldn't shy away from those that we can capture back into the fold of rationality and reason. And this committee hearing on Thursday that starts is the very first part of that, I believe. We're just at the beginning of getting to the bottom of this. Anyway, I'd love to know what you think about all of this. You can call, leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. You can also email me, daily@dollemore.com. Follow me on social media. I'd absolutely love to connect with you there. I'm at Dollemore on Twitter, at Dollemore on Instagram, and at Dollemore on TikTok. I love you guys. I appreciate you. If you appreciate me and you'd like to help support and produce what I do here on the channel, you can click the join button below this video, become a channel member for as little as $2 a month, pennies a day, or you can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. Both those are great ways to support what I do right here, and you can be a part of that. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Until I do, be genuine. Take care of one another.